Welcome to Game Theorem, where we have serious discussions about absurd entertainment.
Even in today's world, Nuka-Cola is still the #1 choice of refreshment among Armageddon survivors. Sierra Petrovita, the biggest Nuka-Cola fan.
I'm Kira.
I'm Kyle.
And we're talking about Nuka-Cola today.
Yes, we are. This is our 3rd podcast on Fallout. It will not be our last because we love it.
Yes.
And you guys remember that announcement we had where we were trying to get a Kickstarter to fund a Nuka-Cola project? It worked.
We got it funded and we did the whole project.
Yes, some people came through for us. We're so grateful for that. But we actually did the project. So we'll leave a link for you guys to go check it out. It's a 7-part video series, and we made 45 different flavors of the Nuka-Cola beverage, as well as 2 other things.
And I tried all of them, as well as the 2 other things.
That was something.
It was interesting.
How many times did you puke?
Twice.
I
puked twice. To be fair,
we're cutting that out.
To be fair, both of those times were due to alcohol, so it wasn't like the beverages actually tasted horrible.
You were so drunk.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. And
I'm so glad that you guys get to know that I puked twice during all that taste testing.
It's okay that we said that, right?
Yes, I think you guys need to know that we suffer for our art.
For you. We did it for you guys. For all the listeners out there. So yeah, we'll leave a link so you can check out the video series. We're going to try to release 2 a week. So we're actually going to put the podcast on hold. So this will be this is the accompanying podcast to that video series. We said that if we did that series, we would have a podcast with it. This is going to be that Nuka-Cola podcast. I hope you guys enjoy. But yeah, we're putting the podcast on hold as the videos come out, and then we'll resume the podcast like usual.
Sounds good.
So some of you might be wondering, what is Nuka-Cola?
Wait. Do you want to tell them what we're going to do when we come back?
Let's just say we're going to do a podcast to hopefully get into the swing of things that we think some of you might be very interested in, because you guys won't stop asking for it. I don't want to spoil it.
All right, fine.
Now, today is about Nuka-Cola.
Yes.
Fallout 76, a new Fallout game, is coming out right around the corner. So I figured this would be a good time to release the project.
And they made Nuka Dark Rum to come out with Fallout 76.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about that. We'll circle around to that later, okay?
All right.
But yeah, so we're doing Nuka-Cola today. Okay, so what is Nuka-Cola? Do you want to answer that, Kira?
It's basically Coca-Cola, but in the Fallout universe.
Yeah, it's a fictional version of the beverage. Imagine everything you think about Coca-Cola. Now imagine it's worse. Imagine it's sweeter, worse for you, and fruitier. And imagine that the corporation is a monopoly and it's extremely litigious. Well, that's exactly how Coca-Cola is, but worse.
Because at least you can choose between Coca-Cola and Pepsi, as if that's a good choice.
But there is no Pepsi. Well, I guess there's certain things you could maybe say is analogous to Pepsi, but there's no Nuka Pepsi or anything like that.
No, there isn't in the Fallout world.
So with this podcast, what we're going to do, we've just introed the idea of Nuka-Cola and mentioned the project, so there we got those plugs out of the way. Now we're going to talk about the history of Nuka-Cola. That way, when you watch the series and you see all the flavors, you might be like, I've never heard of that one before. Well, listen to the podcast and then you'll know. How's that sound?
That sounds good. I'd like to hear the history of Nuka-Cola.
Well, that's what we'll do. You ready?
Yep.
Oh, I should also mention, our Kickstarter had some rewards that are going to air on this podcast.
Yeah, at the end.
We'll get to that at the end, because we don't want to make your ears bleed just yet.
No, we're going to put that off.
All right, so I'm going to start reading. Feel free to interrupt me, Kira. Because I've already typed all of this out beforehand. I did my research on this. researching a fictional beverage from a game.
Yeah.
What?
I think you did great with that. By the way, this history will be in the document that goes out to those people who
Funded the project.
who got the reward. So you'll have the history of Nuka-Cola typed out for you.
But you can also listen to it here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's going to be included in the recipe book, so they'll get all the recipes written down, which should help you a lot. It certainly helped us when we were doing it.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's get started. So we're not going to be just talking about Nuka-Cola, but also its competitors. Mm-hmm. Because this begins in the year 1918, when the Sunset Sarsaparilla Company was founded, and they sold their root beer beverage, Sunset Sarsaparilla. Mm-hmm. They sold it to the United States, but nearly all of its sales were focused in the Southwest.
Of course. But isn't that story a lie?
No, this is the true one.
Oh, I see.
They do have PR that says they came out after Nuka-Cola, but in fact, Sunset Sarsaparilla has been around for a long time.
You know what? Just so you guys know, spoiler, but if you want to hear the fake story of how Sunset Sarsaparilla got started...
In the Fallout New Vegas game, you can talk to this robot kiosk that will tell you.
Yep, Festus. So, yeah.
So... that happened 1918, really early on, right? Mm-hmm. Well, later, in 1931, Vim Pop Incorporated was founded as a competitor, but their soda, Vim, only received popularity in Maine. In time, they would eventually release a new flavor, Vim Refresh.
Mm-hmm. So this is how Vim got started in Maine.
Yes, these are the first really big soda franchises in the United States. But, they're not going to be nearly as mainstream. They're very localized. They haven't really gotten the national attention yet.
Ah, I see what you mean. I can understand that. That's why they're more concentrated to one area.
Do you want to know what Vim Refresh is?
What is Vim Refresh?
It's an apple and melon flavor version of the Vim drink.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a lot like cola, but with more blackberry to it. Mm-hmm. And it's slightly fermented to be kind of like wine. Or, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you those were really good. I liked the Vim ones.
Well, don't spoil how you think about all the flavors. Yeah, they'll find that out in the project.
Fine.
It's okay to hint at it, though. That was in the 1930s. Eventually, they made Vim Refresh. And then a long time later in the year 2042, John Caleb Bradburton was an amateur chemist. He began developing the formula that would eventually become Nuka-Cola. He hired additional chemists he called beveragiers to help him develop it.
So this was in 2042?
Yes.
What? That's... Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yep.
I didn't realize Nuka-Cola hadn't been around that long.
Yeah, the soda industry was really stunted for like 100 years.
That's really weird.
Well, you have to keep in mind, in the Fallout universe, after things diverged from our history, they never really advanced beyond the 50s. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they're in stasis for a long time. People in the 50s weren't imagining some revolutionary new soda. When did Coca-Cola come around in the real world anyway?
I do not know this information.
I think it was before this. But they never had that. That was one difference the Fallout world had. Mm-hmm. Also, John Caleb Bradburton, you weren't going to ask about that?
Oh, yeah. Who's he?
His name is actually a parody of the founders of Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
funny.
Which was, they were John Pemberton and Caleb Bradbury or something like that.
Oh my God, that's funny.
So he became John Caleb Bradburton.
That's funny.
In 2044, Nuka-Cola was released on the market by Bradburton's newly created Nuka-Cola Corporation. So they were working on it for like 2 years. Mm-hmm. It was a huge success, and within months, it became the #1 beverage in the country.
Wow.
It was a sensation across the country.
It tasted that good.
Imagine a world that had to wait 100 years for Coca-Cola.
Fair enough, actually. Fair enough.
I know people say it's sugar water, but sugar water's good. We're just insects.
Yeah.
Because insects crave sugar. Never mind. Nuka-Cola's unique soda formula, brand, and even the shape of the bottle became famous. This is a parallel to Coca-Cola, where they had the iconic bottle shape. Nuka-Cola has a very similar one.
I think Coca-Cola got started pretty early because they used to use glass bottles and stuff like that.
Well, in the Fallout world, they always use glass bottles. Plastic bottles are unheard of.
I see what you mean.
Well, maybe for water. They use it for water, and that's it.
Yeah.
So later that year in 2044, the Great Passion Fruit Famine struck the world, which necessitated the formula for Nuka-Cola to be altered because it used passion fruit in the recipe.
Oh, I see.
The Nuka-Cola Corporation quietly released a new formula of Nuka-Cola, replacing the original Nuka-Cola that had the passion fruit flavor included. They tried to do so quietly without anyone noticing it. They didn't even use a different label.
Oh, I see.
However, many noticed the difference in the taste, lacking the passion fruit flavor.
Oh, really?
But Nuka-Cola Corporation didn't want you to know that.
Of course.
So that's why we had to differentiate the original versus the main one.
Yeah. So what did they do after that? Like, they took out the passion fruit, but it must have declined in popularity somewhat.
Somewhat, but negligibly so.
Oh, okay.
It was more of like what something people talked about, a conspiracy sort of thing. They were still buying it and drinking it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They didn't have any real competitors. They were a monopoly.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I mean, Sunset Sarsaparilla and Vim were a thorn in their sides, but they couldn't compare to Nuka-Cola's success. In the late 2040s, the Nuka-Cola Corporation bought out a competitor, Merle's Very Cherry Soda, and they reformulated and rebranded their product as Cherry Nuka-Cola in a brand new shape of bottle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was more bulbous.
Is it the rocket shape?
No, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
This was the second bottle. I liked calling it the remix bottle, but that's just, there's no real name for it.
All right, I didn't know this. How did you find this out?
Fallout Tactics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I went in deep.
Yep.
Being their first new flavor, it was a marketing disaster for the Nuka-Cola Corporation, so they quickly released Classic Nuka-Cola, which claimed to reintegrate the flavor of the original Nuka-Cola, i.e. passion fruit, in the new bottle. So
Oh, I see.
it was also in the bulbous bottle. Once their branded image was restored, the Nuka-Cola Corporation refocused their efforts on selling Nuka-Cola in the original bottle.
Why did they...
Because even the remix bottle, since it was associated with cherry, it was a flop.
Oh, I see what you mean. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. This entire thing is actually a reference to New Coke in our world with Coca-Cola.
Oh, really?
Because I don't know if you know about this, but in our world, Coca-Cola was selling their beverage, right? And there were some competitors, Pepsi, which was nothing compared to Coca-Cola, but it was a thorn in their side. So Coca-Cola started to get kind of nervous. So they decided to make a new drink. Well, actually, I think Crystal Pepsi had just came out.
Oh, I see.
Which everyone was like, oh, it's a clear drink. It's revolutionary. It didn't really help their sales that much, but it scared Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola creates New Coke where they tried to change it. But Coca-Cola had always, been the same. People didn't like the change. The original Coca-Cola became super rare, and people hated it. Their sales plummeted. It brought Pepsi onto the world stage.
Oh my God, wow.
They ended up creating their own enemy. After that huge flop, they're like, okay, let's make classic Coca-Cola, which was literally just the same thing.
Wow. All right.
And we've been stuck with classic Coke ever since.
That's funny, actually.
Yeah, but they made their own enemy.
Yep.
I mean, it was really clever on Pepsi's part.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's the real world. So forget all that because we're in the Fallout universe.
Okay.
But that's kind of similar to what's happening here. Nuka-Cola was scared of Sunset Sarsaparilla and Vim. So they just tried to make cherry. They bought it out from the Merle soda because this is something you're going to notice a lot. Nuka-Cola loves, instead of making their own flavors, they just buy out other people's and then add a little bit of Nuka-Cola formula to it.
Yeah, that's basically all they do.
Mostly, not entirely, but they do that a lot.
Yeah.
So they did that. It was a huge flop because they just didn't market it properly. I mean, that's happened before. Oh, you want to hear? Can I go on another tangent?
Sure.
Did you ever hear about how Coca-Cola failed to sell bottled water in Britain?
Oh.
Because Dasani is a bottled water, but it's a Coca-Cola product.
Uh-huh.
And they tried selling it in Britain. Not only did they British people find it laughable of selling bottled water at the time, especially because it was such low quality like tap water. Uh-huh. But in the marketing, they used a certain word that's actually like a promiscuous slur in Britain, but not in America.
Oh my god.
And they didn't know that, and they put that on all their advertising.
Oh my god, wow.
Yeah. I still think you can't find Dasani, at least not as well as some of the competitors.
Wow.
Anyway, okay, sorry. Back to Nuka-Cola. Okay, so yeah, they got classic Coke, right? But that was just a limited run. Now they're back to just focus on Nuka-Cola, not these other flavors. Mm-hmm. So they did that. Then the Nuka-Cola Corporation acquired another competitor, Grape Pearl Soda. They made a more thorough attempt at marketing, simultaneously re-releasing Nuka Cherry and re-releasing Nuka Grape, as well as a new flavor they developed on their own called Nuka-Cola Orange.
Oh.
And the three flavors were instant successes this time.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's why Nuka-Cola Orange, I think, is called, it's not just Nuka Orange.
Are you sure?
No, because
I think the label says Nuka Orange.
Well, that's what the label says, but that's not what the drink's actually officially called.
Oh, I see.
Because Nuka Cherry and Nuka Grape were both bought out. Mm-hmm. So they don't have the Nuka-Cola label, just Nuka Cherry and Nuka Grape. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's something legal about that.
I don't know.
But with Nuka-Cola Orange, they developed it in-house, so it's called Nuka-Cola Orange as opposed to Nuka Orange.
I see what you mean. Okay.
That was a busy 6 years for them.
Yeah, I can imagine, because they got like 3 new flavors.
Well, if you count Classic.
Oh.
And the main one, and then the original one, so that's 7 flavors.
So far, yeah.
In 2050, the Nuka-Cola branded amusement park, Nuka World, opened to the public.
In 2050?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So, like I said, they were a huge success. Within 6 years of Nuka-Cola being created, they had an amusement park.
Wow.
This was somewhere around Massachusetts. Don't know exactly where. Mm-hmm. Maybe it says, I don't know. It's Nuka World. It's his own location. Mm-hmm. It's like the size of a city.
Yep.
The Nuka-Cola brand skyrocketed into further fame, and they capitalized on it by developing new flavors. In the 2050s, the Nuka-Cola Corporation released Nuka-Cola Diet, Nuka-Cola Quartz, and Nuka-Cola Victory, focusing their marketing on the West Coast. The reception was lukewarm because of the huge popularity of the standard Nuka-Cola, as well as their competitor Sunset Sarsaparilla.
So, are you talking about the reception for the new flavors? Diet, Victory, and what was the third one?
Quartz.
Quartz?
Yeah, those are like 3 of the least successful Nuka-Cola flavors.
I can understand why. I've never even seen Diet in the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Diet was so unpopular that you literally can't find a single instance of it in the post-apocalyptic wasteland in the Fallout games. So none of it survived.
Oh, so you just hear about it?
Yes, you just know it existed.
Mm-hmm. What about quartz? Do they have a, how did they come up with that?
You can find quartz and Victory in the Southwest still, but they're pretty rare. You can also find them in Nuka World, because Nuka World had all the flavors. Mm-hmm. But in Quartz and Victory, their marketing wasn't even clear. Quartz was just an attempt to make a translucent drink, and Victory was just sold on patriotism.
Mm-hmm. Even though it was orange, which is weird.
They just were going for something flashy.
But they should have just picked a color, red, white, or blue, and then... Actually, they should have picked white. That would have been cool.
White would have made it similar to Quartz.
I guess, fine.
And then
blue or red. Blue, there, do a blue drink.
I think blue might have been a good choice, but yeah. I think really to be patriotic, you have to have all 3, so they just kind of went the opposite direction.
Yeah, but what would make you think it would be purple? Because red, white, and blue mixed together would come out some kind of purple.
Purple does not scream America, though.
Orange does.
A little bit.
Really?
It's full of
It's orange. It's...
I don't know, desert, sand, orange, whatever. They were not good successes.
Yeah, all right.
Sunset Sarsaparilla still managed to crush Nuka-Cola, at least in the Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
Also, by the way, diet, it's kind of funny how in the Fallout world, everyone wants like sugar and sweet and crap for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Diet was not successful at all.
Whereas in the real world, Diet Coke is like the third most drink in the entire world.
Soda, yeah.
Yeah.
If you list the top drink sodas in the real world, it's Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I think that's funny.
Yep.
And most people don't realize this, but Diet Coke's actually a different flavor. It has like different amounts of fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's no reason to think that Diet Nuka-Cola is necessarily that. It's just diet.
Mm-hmm.
Although, how do you make something diet? Science, beverage years.
You change out the sweetener. Instead of using regular sugar or whatever, you use alternatives.
It's more than just that, though.
No, but that's the main thing that makes something sweet like that diet.
Sure. Anyway, let's move on. In 2058, so this is 8 years later after the opening of Nuka World, the Nuka-Cola Corporation attempted to buy out the Sunset Sarsaparilla Company.
Oh, but it did not work.
Yeah, unlike the other soda companies that they've bought out, the little small ones here and there, Sunset Sarsaparilla is too big. The offer was rejected. The Nuka-Cola Corporation, in response, released Nuka-Cola Wild to compete with Sunset Sarsaparilla.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a root beer drink to directly compete with it. Although I don't think it became that popular, did it?
It's not really known exactly how well its competition fared. In the games, you don't really see it in the Southwest at all, but maybe you're just not looking in the right places.
Maybe it's possible.
Yeah, because it might be kind of like cellular coverage maps where they've arranged different locales. Some places you'll find only Sunset Sarsaparilla. Some places you'll only find Nuka-Cola Wild. You understand?
Yeah. Although there's both a Sunset Sarsaparilla factory and a Nuka-Cola factory in the Mojave.
Well, right, because they still will drink regular Nuka-Cola like crazy.
Yeah. All right.
It's just when you're in the Southwest United States and you want root beer, Sunset Sarsaparilla is the go-to place. Why are you going to take the corporate alternative?
All right.
So later in the 2060s, the Nuka-Cola Corporation released Nuka-Cola Dark in an attempt to get into the alcohol industry.
Oh, wow.
What?
I Nuka Dark.
It's 30% alcohol.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. I know.
Like, it had warnings about pregnant people drinking it.
Yeah.
But
well, you're not supposed to drink any alcohol.
Especially not 30% alcohol.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were trying to appeal to an adult demographic because the most avid drinkers of Nuka-Cola are children. So
they tried to appeal to more adults who would have like a beer or whatever, and they tried to do this as a replacement for that.
Exactly. They wanted to get into the alcohol industry.
Yeah.
I think we should talk at this point about Nuka Dark Rum.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because in the real world, with Fallout 76 coming out, people have made Nuka-Cola beverages for a long time on the internet. You can find them on YouTube. The difference that we wanted to do is we wanted to make them actually taste accurately.
Yeah.
Which I should have mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. I'm really frustrated with myself at the moment.
It's okay.
Because that's really the whole thing. I mean, yeah, we're making all the flavors, but we're also making them taste accurately, not just look right.
Yeah, they're going to be as accurate tasting as possible. There was absolutely 30% alcohol.
I guess you already kind of revealed that with your tasting of it when you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool and everything. But the company behind Fallout, Bethesda, has decided with the release of Fallout 76 to actually do that themselves. You can now drink an actual Nuka-Cola beverage. The problem is they only made dark. And they also had to change the name for legal reasons. They changed it to Nuka Dark Rum. And they got it's a promotional thing, so you can't get it forever. I don't think you can even get it now. I don't know. But it's $80 a bottle.
Yeah, and they also made it 30% alcohol.
Yeah. So we actually we looked at the recipe they used and incorporated that into our recipe for the actual Nuka-Cola Dark.
Oh, yeah, because they tell you what
It's coconut rum, basically.
Yeah.
And Nuka-Cola. Mm-hmm. And then we had to just add vodka or Everclear alcohol just to get it up to 30%.
Yeah. Just so you know, we used Everclear for the alcohol project.
Well, that's because there's legal restrictions where we live and how much pure alcohol you're allowed to buy.
Yeah, so we used Everclear so that we could be super accurate with the percentage of alcohol in the drinks.
Yep.
In case you haven't realized it by now, Nuka Dark was one of the ones that made me puke.
You got Nuka Power fine.
I know. I was so surprised I was able to get that down.
That one's, we'll get to it.
I think I was more prepared for that, and I just took the shot. But then later on, after even more alcohol, I was just like, nope.
All right, so let's move on. Meanwhile, in the 2060s, Vim Pop Incorporated released Vim Quartz, a new flavor for Vim, in addition to the regular and the refresh. However, this attracted negative attention from the Nuka-Cola Corporation.
Well, yeah, because they use the same name, right?
Yes, because now there's Nuka-Cola Quartz and a Vim Quartz.
They're like in direct competition.
Exactly, so Nuka-Cola really did not like that. Mm-hmm. Now, skip ahead into 2072.
All right.
And this year, the final attraction was added to Nuka World, the Galactic Zone. And Brad Burton used its installation as an opportunity to make business ties with the United States military as well as Robco Industries.
Really?
Because he partnered with those two companies to create the Galactic Zone attraction.
Oh, I see.
But he kept those connections even after the attraction was done. Mm-hmm. He used those connections to fortify Nuka World. And in doing so, he also discovered isotope CCE774.
Is that the one that's in Quantum?
While it would be used in the development of weapons, it was also incorporated into a newly and supposedly supercharged flavor of Nuka-Cola.
Quantum.
They would be working on this flavor for a while. Mm-hmm. So it's not released yet, but just so you know, that's brewing in the background.
Yeah, all right.
In the 2070s, the Nuka-Cola Corporation bought out more competitors, specifically Sharon's Down Home Country Lemonade and Packed Full of Joe. Mm-hmm. They reformulated and rebranded their products as Nuka-Cola Clear and Nuka Boost, respectively.
Oh, that's cool. I really liked Nuka-Cola Clear.
It really should be called Nuka Clear with the whole branding thing we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it should.
But these flavors had yet to be released, so maybe when it was released, they would have changed the name to Nuka Clear. Mm-hmm. But for now, it's called Nuka-Cola Clear, and then you have Nuka Boost.
Yeah, Boost was actually not that bad, surprisingly. I think it was because the creamer in it made it good.
Maybe it's just your taste in coffee, because here's what it says. The Nuka-Cola Corporation chose to postpone their releases a few years because Nuka-Cola Clear might conflict with the sales of Nuka-Cola Quartz, as well as their upcoming flavor, and because Nuka Boost received poor reviews and taste tests.
Oh.
Nuka Boost was supposed to be disgusting. You thought it was going to be disgusting until you tried it.
Yeah, I know.
You were pleasantly surprised.
Yes, I was.
But I hate coffee. You're a coffee drinker.
Yeah, I like coffee, so.
And Nuka-Cola Clear is kind of like Sprite.
Yeah, that was good.
So, then Vim Pop Incorporated lost a lawsuit litigated litigated from the Nuka-Cola Corporation, where they claimed ownership of the Quartz brand. This forced Vim Quartz out of production by the end of the year.
Oh, wow. Oh, I wanted to say about Nuka Boost. Okay, so you know how coffee, you put sugar and creamer in it?
Sure.
Well,
the Nuka-Cola formula acted as that.
As well, we put creamer in the recipe, but I feel like the Nuka-Cola acted as the sugar that you're supposed to add to it. It was pretty good.
All right, fair enough. It was very fizzy. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Mm-hmm. So Vim Quartz, it's still being made, but it's slated to stop at the end of the year.
Yeah.
The Nuka-Cola Corporation attempted to buy out Vim Pop Incorporated, just like they did with Sunset Sarsaparilla.
Of course, because they're an evil corporation.
Yeah, and they own everything except for Sunset Sarsaparilla and Vim at this point.
Mm-hmm. Which is ridiculous.
And they have ties to the military now. Mm-hmm. When the offer was rejected, the Nuka-Cola Corporation secretly hired mercenaries to sabotage the Vim brand in Maine and secure a foothold in that market.
How did they do that?
It's a corporation. Hiring mercenaries from a corporation is like the first thing corporations do when they're a monopoly.
Well, yeah, but like...
East India Company.
What did they do? What did the mercenaries do?
Oh, they used espionage to sneak into the factories and destroy them from the inside.
Wow, really?
Yep. But also it's about sabotaging the brand, too. Mm-hmm. So, now we're in the year 2077.
Yep.
Vim Pop Incorporated retaliated by developing a new flavor called Vim's Captain's Blend.
Oh.
And the Nuka-Cola Corporation attempted several times to covertly steal the recipe.
Yeah, of course they did. Although, to be honest, Captain's Blend is, yeah.
It's said to be an acquired taste.
It didn't taste that bad, but I think that's purely because of the corn syrup.
Corn syrup, it has that, but it also has lobster and fiddlehead greens in it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, like I was surprised at how good it tasted because it was super sweet.
And maybe that's why the Nuka-Cola Corporation wants the recipe, because it's actually a huge hit in Maine.
Oh, I see.
And, the Nuka-Cola Corporation wants to take them down, so they're trying to erode their fan base. Mm-hmm. The Nuka-Cola Corporation, however, finally lost a lawsuit for the first time.
Oh, really?
Against another small rival corporation that claimed ownership of the iconic Nuka-Cola bottle.
Oh, really?
Apparently, they didn't really own the rights to that bottle shape.
Oh, I see.
By the way, this is a reference to how it's very similar to the Coca-Cola bottle. And really, Bethesda was just trying not to get sued by Coca-Cola.
Ah, I see.
So,
not surprised.
Yeah. So even though the iconic bottles were still being sold everywhere, as a result of this lawsuit, they developed a new rocket shape of bottle and rebranded all of their flavors in the new bottle. Mm-hmm. They then began to roll out the new bottles, starting in the New England area first. It would get to the rest of the country in due time. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the iconic bottles remained in production for a while.
And I like the iconic bottles better. I don't really care about the new rocket bottles.
Honestly, they're dumb, and they're just... I think it just makes it harder. Like with the Nuka Dark Rum that they released in the real world, they made out of plastic.
Yeah, because
you couldn't make the actual ones.
Which is dumb.
I think it's not as dumb anymore because now that we actually know the story behind it. But keep in mind, when Fallout 4 was released, they made this change without bothering to explain why. And it was only later when everyone was like, "Excuse me, Bethesda," they finally in Nuka World ended up explaining why this change had occurred.
Oh, I see.
So the litigation, I guess, makes sense, but to me, I think the iconic bottles is where it's at, and that's why we use them. Oh, we never mentioned this, but the only difference between the iconic bottles and the real-world Coca-Cola bottles, aside from subtle shape differences, is the fact that real Coca-Cola bottles have a slight green hint to them. Nuka-Cola bottles have a slight blue hint to them. So it's a different color. It's called Dazzling Blue.
Yeah.
Anyway, on with the story. So, they rolled out these new bottles. Anyway, the Nuka mixer stations at the Nuka World Amusement Park were capable of mixing together most Nuka-Cola flavors at this point, with preset recipes in the official Nuka World Recipe Book. And the stations were updated with the new bottles and the upcoming flavor as well. That new flavor, with isotope CCE774, became known as Nuka-Cola Quantum. It was released on the day that nuclear war ravaged the world. All of the soda companies finally came to an end. But some additional mixed flavors would be made by survivors in the wasteland in the centuries to come.
Wasn't that Nuka Power was made after?
No, that was one of the official recipes.
That was one of the official recipes. Do they want to get sued or be held liable for someone dying?
You mixed it yourself. I guess.
Come on, that's double. That's 60% alcohol.
You want to talk about the different flavors you can make in the Nuka Mix stations?
All right.
All right.
I liked Nuka Love. I liked how that one came out.
Well, we have Nuka Berry, which is just a mixture of Nuka-Cola, Nuka Cherry, and Nuka Grape. It's, straightforward. Nuka Bomb Drop is a mixture of Nuka-Cola, Nuka-Cola Dark, bourbon, rum, and vodka.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all the different types of alcohol together.
Yeah. Was that an official one?
Yes, I'm only listing the official ones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Then you have Nuka Side, which was a mixture of all the official flavors at Nuka World. Some of the flavors, like original Nuka-Cola and Classic and Diet, did so poorly they didn't even bother showing them at Nuka World, at least as of 2077. They may have existed prior to that at Nuka World and were removed.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Flavors they don't want to talk about. So, Nuka Side had Nuka-Cola, Cherry, Grape, Orange, Quartz, Victory, Wild, Dark, and Quantum.
Yep. All of them.
Yeah. They already had these mixer stations ready on the day of the release of Quantum. So, they were updated on the last day before the great post-apocalyptic nuclear exchange. Then we have Nuka Cooler, which is Quartz, Victory, and Quantum. The cool flavors, I guess.
Yeah.
Then Nuka Fruity, which is cola, cherry, grape, and orange. So it has
all the fruit flavors.
All the three main fruit ones, yeah. Then you have Nuka Hearty.
That one's disgusting.
Nuka-Cola, Nuka-Cola Dark, a carrot, a tomato, and a potato.
Okay, this is impossible to be actually in the official recipe.
It is. I don't understand it either, but it is.
Because doesn't the recipe say mutated carrot?
Well, yeah, you have to use a tato, which is a hybrid of a tomato and potato. But that's all you have in the post-apocalypse. It was probably programmed to take the non-mutant version of it.
Oh,
We just don't know whether that was a potato or a tomato. Point is, when you make it in the game, you use a hybrid of both.
Okay.
I don't understand how the machine was accepted to take vegetables.
I don't know.
Maybe there's just a slot you throw it in. I have no idea.
Me neither.
What happens if you throw something else in? I'm going to throw cabbage in. Does it say rejected? It has to be a carrot. Whatever. Well, actually, no, we know it doesn't do that because I'll get to that. Nuka Elixir we have. It's Nuka-Cola, Nuka-Cola Orange, and Medex.
Yeah.
So Medex is a medtech brand of morphine.
Yep.
So it's pain relief.
Yeah.
Morphine in a beverage. We should mention that the expectations of safety standards at this time were extremely low.
Yep.
Next, we have Nuka Love. It's just cherry and quartz, so it comes out like a pinkish color. And then you have Nuka Power. This is the one that Kira keeps bringing up.
Yeah, that's 60% alcohol.
Yes, it's vodka, or it's literally just more concentrated Nuka-Cola Dark.
Yeah, I literally was like, I cannot believe that I actually got that down. I was almost instantly drunk after that one.
Well, you behaved very well while we were recording, at least.
Yeah.
Then you have Nuka Punch, which is cherry, grape, orange, and quartz. So it's essentially like the fruity one, but instead of a regular Nuka-Cola, it uses quartz. Then you have Nuka Ray, which is just orange and Victory mixed together, the two orange beverages.
And Nuka Rush is just Victory and Wild.
Yeah, they never really talk about what Victory's made of, but we hypothesized that it would have a bit of blueberry and strawberry to represent red and blue for patriotic colors.
Yeah.
And then orange for the orange color.
Yep.
So it comes out as like a little bit of a light fruit medley itself.
Yeah.
But now with more orange with Nuka Ray.
Yeah.
Next is Nuka Rush, which is Victory and Wild.
I just said that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was still whatever. So it's fruity root beer.
Nuka Sunrise.
Which is just Nuka-Cola cherry and orange, so it's like a red orange. Then you have Nuka Void, which is dark and quantum. It's an alcoholic quantum.
Yep.
So it's that one's like a dark blue.
Yeah.
Very dark blue. I don't know. Yeah, we didn't mention this, but quantum glows blue because of the radioactivity.
Yeah, I know.
That's something that we couldn't replicate exactly in real life, but we did our best.
Yeah. Nuka Extreme.
I don't think you're not allowed to get radioactive material, are you? It's regulated.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay, just asking for a friend. Kidding. And then, the last one's Nuka Extreme, which is just Nuka-Cola, Grape, and Quantum. I have no idea why it's called Extreme. Maybe because those are like the cool skater flavors. I have no idea. So,
all right.
So those are the official mixes.
Yep.
Some of them I don't understand, but yeah. Now, there is something else we wanted to go over, is that in the wasteland, the 200 years since the bombs fell, many wastelanders have come up with their own recipes.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Now, in the Nuka Mixer stations, you can put other things in, and many people have.
And that's how they came up with their own mixes.
Yeah, because Nuka World's now operated by raiders and slavers, so they've come up with some really dumb recipes.
Yeah, but, they're dumb.
So like, the first one is...
We don't have to go through all of this.
Oh, let's just make it quick.
Okay.
There's Nuka-Cola, which is cola and cherry.
Yeah.
It's a reference to New Coke.
Oh,
like cherry
funny.
was.
That's funny.
Yeah. Then you have Nuka Buzz, which is just super concentrated wild root beer. Mm-hmm. Then you have Nuka Fancy, which is cherry and wild, just cherry root beer. Mm-hmm. You have Nuka Free, which is watered down Nuka-Cola.
Yep.
And you have Nuka Twin, which is cola and wild, so it's root beer light. Mm-hmm. Then you have Rum and Nuka, which was made in New Vegas. It's just rum and Nuka-Cola. Mm-hmm. A Dirty Wastelander, that was popular in the Commonwealth in Boston. It's Nuka-Cola, whiskey, and blackberries.
Ah, yeah.
Or moot fruit. Then you have Fusion Cola, which was in Fallout Tactics as well. Ah. It's a combination of every Nuka-Cola flavor ever, but they only had 3 released in the Midwest, so it was only Nuka-Cola, Classic Nuka-Cola, and Nuka-Cola Cherry.
Wow. Then
you had Homemade Nuka-Cola, which is made of barrel cactus fruit and Nevada agave fruit. Yellow Nuka-Cola, it's pea in a bottle.
Yeah.
And then you have Sunset Sarsaparilla, and then Homemade Sarsaparilla, because that's the only one, because we already talked about Sunset Sarsaparilla and Vim and everything, but there's also a homemade equivalent for sarsaparilla.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the flavors. We went over the history. We just kind of filled in some of the remaining flavors that were made in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
I think we're good. What do you think, Kira?
I think we're good.
All right, so this has been our episode on Nuka-Cola. Please check out the videos. We're going to be taking a break because we're going to be working on getting those videos out. Mm-hmm. Once those are done, we'll be back here with an episode I think you guys will enjoy.
Yep.
And before we end this episode, though, we got some time left. We're going to use that for the rewards for our funders.
Yep.
Is that what people call them?
Yeah, backers.
Backers?
Yeah, that's what they call them.
I think funder has a more...
It's backer.
But funder's like,
Kyle.
You gave us money, you made this happen, and it sounds like thunder, so it makes you sound scary.
Okay, well...
You want to mess with me, Kira? I'm going to bring the thunder! As in, the people that gave us money. I just imagine like someone like Raiden from Mortal Kombat showing up to a wrestling match saying, I'm bringing the thunder. And like a secretary just walks out with like a check.
Oh my God.
Okay, so we're going to try to send out the recipe book sometime around the release of this podcast. Mm-hmm. And then in the videos, people's names are mentioned in the credits. The more money you donate, it depends on what you're going to get. And we have a little bonus for our funders, as well as anyone else that's still listening. Don't leave just yet. You may not be getting a reward, but you'll get to listen to theirs. Yep. Because 2 people managed to get the reward to ask us any question, as well as get us to sing for money. We promised we would sing for money if they donated a lot. Yeah. So... we're going to have to answer 2 questions and sing 2 songs. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, one of these people never came to pick up their reward. I messaged them several times. I'm going to pause and check right now just to see if they ever ended up sending it.
All right.
Nope. Never sent it. Let me check the Kickstarter page.
All right.
Yep. Okay. So the other person never responded. I don't know why. They got their reward. They never came to pick it up. We tried messaging them for weeks now. So we're going to do the one person's question and song. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to make up a question for the other one since they never bothered to ask it. And we are going to just sing the Nuka-Cola jingle because we mentioned if you didn't pick a song, we'd be doing that one by default.
All right.
It'll be fun. I think it'll be appropriate. All right. So first, Kira, you told me that you thought of a question to ask. Either ask that question or ask the one that was suggested for us to ask. And this is good.
I'm not asking the one that was suggested for us. You tell that one.
We're gonna both answer it.
Well, I know we're both gonna answer it, but I'm not asking you that question.
Why not?
Just forget it. All right, so I'm gonna ask the question that I came up with.
Okay.
Do you think we're alone in the universe? We've had a long discussion about this in the past, but...
And you want our listeners to be in on it?
Sure, yes.
Did you not think my answer was final to you?
No, I think it was. I just want you to give a final, succinct answer.
Well, okay. I was definitely not expecting this.
That's why I thought it would be a good one.
Okay. We said ask anything. Kira as a surrogate for Morgan. You have asked a strange question. I will answer it. Okay. I mean, if you think about the Fermi Paradox, right?
Yeah, you need to give just a succinct answer that people will understand.
I'm going to elaborate. But, okay, so Fermi Paradox, there should be life out there. If so, where is it? Why don't we see it? It's been enough time in the universe. We should see some sign of life by now. Why don't we? Right? Now, some people say like, oh, what if space travel's just really hard? You could reply to that saying, well, someone should have gone to it by now. It would only take one civilization coming here to prove it's possible. So does that mean it's impossible? There's this idea of a great filter of making it to where for some reason alien life must just be difficult to develop. There must be some reason why we don't see galactic megastructures out there. And there has to be something that just makes it hard to become life. We don't know whether it's life existing in the first place, whether it's life becoming intelligent, or whether it's life being able to space travel. But there's something there. I think really that's the answer. I think there is a filter there. The fact that we exist means that life is possible. I do not think that we are unique in any way, because any argument you can say to say like, oh, well, it's just so hard that it only ever happened once. That seems oddly convenient that in the entire span of the history of the universe, it only ever happened once. Even if it's an incredibly small number, even if it's like 5, right? That's 5. That's 4 others out there. They may be long dead. They may not have come yet. But I think when you do the math on just saying like, oh, well, it's so hard that the number is really low, I can buy that. And I think that's the truth. I think there is out there. It's just, it's so hard for life to come about that the chance of it happening is really low. I think it is just extremely anthropocentric of us to think that number conveniently rounds to 1.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think that it's very possible that no one has figured out space travel yet.
And, you know, one of the things of the Fermi Paradox is they say, well, we've been broadcasting radio signals that anyone can pick up for over 100 years now.
Who's to say that they would be able to interpret radio signals?
Well, actually, I think that's fairly easy because it's on the electromagnetic spectrum.
Yeah, but like, who's to say that would be compatible with any of
Well, they may not understand what they're saying, but they can see where it's coming from.
Ah, I see what you mean.
So I think picking those signals up, if they were just flying by, they might be able to pick that up. And you might say like, well, if that's the case, then how come we haven't seen anything? Well, maybe they're just on their way. After all, we haven't been around that long. Yeah, and also intergalactic travel is like hard. So it's possible just no one's left their planet enough. It's one thing if you're talking about like history of the universe, but if you're talking about history of humanity, that's nothing. Yeah, exactly. All right. Okay, what's your answer? I said my answer. You agree? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought you might have more to add. Okay. Well, I added to that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we have the next question proposed by Mint Vanilla. Yes. One the other funder. Yes. So could you ask the question, please? Why do I have to ask? Because I don't remember the exact wording, but I know you do. The wording is, where do you see this relationship in 5 years? Our relationship. Do I know you? I'm kidding. But yeah, listeners, in case you didn't realize, Kira and I are Apostle Qs. We are vacillating Moibrels and mate sprits. And we are significant others.
Yeah.
Call it what you will.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer first or me?
No, you answer first.
For the record, Kira mentioned that this was the question earlier, and I was just blocking my ears out saying, no spoilers. No, we answer it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't think she was very happy about that.
No, I was not.
So, okay, what's the question again? Word again? Say it.
Where do you see our relationship in 5 years? She said your relationship, so, yeah.
Well, we're assuming we won't be dead, right?
Yeah, let's start with that assumption.
Because the state of the world, we might be dead.
It's a possibility.
It's a large possibility.
Yeah.
It's a large it's a large assumption, not even to think about nuclear war, but just that I won't get shot at work one day.
Yeah. But we live in America, by the way, so yeah.
Yeah.
But let's just let's
just say that there are a lot of guns where I live.
Let's just start with that assumption that we survive the next 5 years.
All right.
Both of us.
Not homeless either?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go with that assumption too.
So we still have jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because, was it 33% of the economy is contractual, gig-based at this point? Great. Okay. We might get married for tax reasons. Mm-hmm. Because I think marriage is a sham.
And I agree factually with what he says.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, we're going to get personal here, and I can cut this if you don't want me to say it, Kira. But we're very open-minded, so we are not obligated to a two-party relationship. Mm-hmm. So in 5 years' time, we're not dead and we haven't lost our jobs. Maybe we met more people. Maybe we met someone that we wanted to include in our relationship. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to ever happen. But again, we're taking a pretty rosy vision of the future right here.
Yeah, we are. Unfortunately.
But I think the most likely thing is marriage for tax reasons.
You think so? Because
I don't agree in marriage, but it's so embedded in our society. And if it's financially more beneficial, then whatever, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I don't like doing it because marriage is a holdover institution back from when it was legal to own people.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't like it. And if we ever did have a third person in our relationship, we'd have to figure out which pair would get married.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Can I mention the thing about gender?
No.
No? I can't?
All right, fine. We might as well. We're airing all our dirty laundry.
Well, you say it then.
No.
Oh, okay. Me say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we've discussed in the past, if we ever did have an extra person, they'd have to be a woman. Mm-hmm. Because you would want that. Okay. Yeah. Is this a good enough answer for you, Mint Vanilla?
Oh my god.
Anything else about our relationship? I mean, I don't think even in that rosy vision of the future, because I mean, if we get a third person relationship, they can help pay rent, right? Yeah. But if we ever were to have like a child, the child's not going to pay rent.
No.
I don't think we'd be able to afford a child.
Yeah. Maybe in the unlikely scenario that it's even rosier than we thought and we are stable. But other than that, I can't see us doing that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's off the table, but I think 5 years, if you had said maybe 10 years, I think I would have pushed the likelihood of that up more.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Especially if we lived for 10 years. Like, if we lived 10 years, I'd be like, wow, we lived 10 years since we had that conversation. Let's have a baby to celebrate living 10 more years on this planet. Do you want to say anything else about
no.
All right. Well, you answer the question. I told you what I think.
I pretty much agree with you on all of that. I mean, we've talked about it so much. I feel like we're on the same page as far as our relationship and what direction it's going and where it might be in the future.
Okay, but can you think of anything on where you differ? Because I don't want your answer to just be like ditto.
I don't know. I hope we're successful in our own game studio.
No. We can't, not to future about anything, about our relationship. I only ask questions about that to figure out whether we'd be alive to have a relationship.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I really differ on anything.
What about marriage or children?
Well, I mean, I agree with you that probably marriage for tax reasons, but it's not a requirement for a relationship.
If we do have a marriage, I want to invite like no one.
Well, you need a witness.
Okay, one person.
One person.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with that, but I know a lot of people wouldn't be.
Spite my family. Don't care.
If we had that one person, who do you think would it be?
Probably your sister.
My sister?
Mm-hmm.
She's 11.
Yes.
I don't think she can count.
She's a witness. I don't care.
She can't sign
Yes,
for
she
that.
can.
No, you have to be 18.
Well, it's not my fault they don't let you, but she can sign.
Okay. Fine. Make a second choice.
Your mother, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely no one from my family.
Fair enough. All right.
I mean, if I had to pick someone from my family, you know who I would choose.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Let's move on.
Yep. Time to sing.
Oh, no. Crap. Okay, so this episode's probably going to go a little long.
Yep.
I forgot about the singing.
I was trying to get you to hurry up when we did the flavors.
It's okay. If any episode's going to go long, this one is the one to do it.
Yeah. All right. Fine.
Okay, so we're going to sing the Nuka-Cola Jingle. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to sing the song Mint Vanilla requested.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now, our singing's going to be terrible, so I understand if you guys want to duck out now. Mm-hmm. But we're going to do the best we can. For copyright reasons, I can't guarantee there'll be any music. Mm-hmm. But you'll hear our lovely voices.
Yep.
Try not to scream too loudly so that you don't peak the volume.
All right.
But yeah, let's get ready to sing. So we're doing the theme song to Nuka-Cola and Nuka World. All right?
Mm-hmm.
What if there was a place with all the zip of Nuka-Cola? Wouldn't that be the cheeriest place in the world? Where the river's made of quantum, and the mountain tops are fizz. And the games and rides for all the moms and pops and kids. Well, it turns out there's a place with all the zip of Nuka-Cola. Come down to the Nuka world and see it for yourself. Kitty Kingdom, lots of fun for tots like you and me. And safari adventures full of animals to see. Blast off to Galactic Zone for otherworldly thrills. Down in dry goes this cola, up in there are hills. The world of refreshments, the most wonderful place. The friendly streets of Nuka Town put a smile on your face. Now you know there's a place just as great as Nuka-Cola. Come on down to Nuka World and see it for yourself. A vacation that refreshes, a trip that you won't forget. A park with every minimum acceptable safety standard met. Quench your thirst for adventure for Nuka World.
That was awful.
That song's hilarious.
Yeah.
The minimum safety standard.
All right, next song. Come on.
Okay. So, the other song that we have to sing that was requested was the intro song to Borderlands 2. Mm-hmm. So, if you listen to our first deep dive episode on Borderlands, you might like this.
Yep.
It's not my favorite of the intro songs. I preferred No Rest for the Wicked.
Fair enough.
But it was still a good listen to. I mean, just listening to the Borderlands soundtrack is something I've done several times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the song's not unique to Borderlands. It's a famous song, but that's how I was introduced to it. Mm-hmm. So, you ready to sing this song? This song is going to be not nearly as jovial. Mm-hmm. All right? I can't see where you're coming from, but I know just what you're running from. And what matters ain't the who's baddest, but the Ones who stop you falling from your ladder. But
When you
feel like you're feeling now. And doing things just to please your crowd. If I love you like the way I love you. I suffer cause I ain't gonna cut you cause this ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero. Go home. This ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero. Go home. And every time I close my eyes, I think about you inside. And your mother giving up on asking why. How you lie and you cheat and you try to make a fool out of she. I can't see where you coming from, but I know just what you're running from. And now it matters thinking who's baddest, but the ones who stop you falling from your ladder, cause they ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero. Go home. This ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero. To go home. This ain't no place for no hero. This ain't no place for no better man. This ain't no place for no hero. To go home. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. All right, that's it.
Yep.
So that was Short Change Hero.
Yep.
And you know, I'm thinking about this, the lyrics of the context outside of Borderlands. I think it's about someone in prison.
I don't know.
Because they're saying that, like, I've been thinking about you while I'm inside here. And I think the singer is thinking about his loved one outside of the prison.
It's possible.
And this language of saying, I'm going to cut you, and, like, this is place for no hero. I think they're in a violent, enclosed place. And to me, a prison comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. I like that they use that for Pandora, though, because, yeah, that is definitely ain't no place for no hero.
And I think really, when you think about it, it's an allegory for Nuka-Cola and how you have only one choice, and Nuka-Cola is your prison because it's a monopoly on your world, and you might try to be better than it and not drink it, but this ain't no place for no hero. Drink up to Nuka-Cola. Be one of us. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Don't drink that Sunset Sarsaparilla. No. Don't be a hero here. Sit down and drink that Nuka. You will die of cancer and you will love it. I'm sorry, that was a stretch.
That was a quote right there. You will die of cancer and you will love it.
I should have said heart disease, but whatever. So yeah, this is our Nuka-Cola episode. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys love your rewards. Morgan, Mint, enjoy. And everyone else, I hope you enjoy the videos. Thank you.
Thank you.
What were we supposed to say at the end of a podcast? Oh, before we go, though, there was one more thing I wanted to bring up in relation to where we see our relationship in a few years.
Okay.
I just wanted to kind of put it on the record on the podcast that if we do die, or at least just one of us, or if I die, I would want you to have everything I own. I would leave everything to you, except the debt. You don't have to take that.
Same way for me.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Thank you. But, I mean, I know we don't, like, this isn't like a will or something, but this could be used in court.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. Well, listeners, I will talk to you later. Kira, I'm going to keep talking to you now because you're my prosecute, if that's okay with you.
Yes, that's very okay.
Okay. Go away, listeners. Bye.
Bye.
Kidding.